This is Jason Jones with the City Salt. We're here at the Grandin Theatre today with John McBroom. His band GOTE is playing on February 22nd right here. John, thanks for being with us today.
Appreciate you having me, Jason.
Absolutely. So you've been a fixture in the Roanoke and area music community for a long time now. You're a local native Roanoker, is that right?
Yeah.
Good deal. And where did you grow up in Roanoke?
I grew up over on Hemlock over in South Roanoke. And yeah.
Good deal. You've played a lot of rooms in Roanoke. Have you ever played the Grandin?
Haven't played the Grandin. I've been to hundreds of movies. I've seen lots of bands here, but I've never gotten the opportunity to or the honor to do it. So
Yeah.
we're very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great
And I've seen a couple of the shows that I've been to Isaac and who else did I come to? Palmyra, I think.
That was a great show.
Yeah, and it was just it's nice to see this room being utilized for music too.
Absolutely. It's been a long time. I didn't realize that like John Lee Hooker and Ray Charles had played here in the 80s.
Yeah, I got to see Delbert McClinton back in sometime in the 80s, 70s, 80s. And it was just like, it was the first time that I ever saw a theater show. And it's like, oh, this is, it's such a different thing from a club.
Absolutely.
You know?
Especially with the acoustics and the light show and everything.
Well, it's just, it's more centered on music. It's about the music. So
Absolutely. So I was wondering, what was the first band that you were a part of in Roanoke? Take us back.
Wow. All right. So when I got out of high school, I ran away from Roanoke for about 10 years. And when I came back, a bunch of us that I'd grown up, a bunch of guys that I grew up with, Bradley Carr and Thomas Wilson, had a band called Nice Day for Something.
Okay.
And I moved back and said, I want to play with you. I was like, we already got a whole band. So I just started showing up to rehearsals. And over the course of about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months, I was able to kind of elbow my way, get my way into it. And when I started singing and playing guitar with them, we changed the name to a band called Red Weather.
Okay.
And we did a lot of playing from, our first gig was in '93. And we kind of toured pretty heavily. And we did about 700-800 shows until the end of the '90s.
How far would you travel?
We went up, we went up into Pennsylvania, down to South Carolina, and into Tennessee.
Wow.
And but the cool thing back then, I mean, for a couple of years, we probably played, I'm going to say, 15 shows a month, and 10 of them were in Roanoke, and we would always have packed houses.
Yeah.
So it was like, everyone was like, why don't you travel more? I was like, why? We didn't, we really didn't need to.
Absolutely.
So that was my first foray into. I played a little bit when I was out in Colorado, but that was the first band here.
Yeah, off to a hot start.
Yeah,
pretty quickly. It sounds like.
Well, it took a few years. I mean, when the Coffee Pot booked you as Ed Ether. And I think we were booked as Red Leather Couch one time. It took a while for everyone. Who? What? Yeah, but
That's fun.
it doesn't flow off the tongue very well.
Aside from playing so many shows and different bands around Roanoke, you've also been a teacher with the community school here in Roanoke.
Yeah, community high school.
Community high school.
Yeah.
You taught math and music, right?
I taught math and music. I got my oldest daughter, who's now 35 now, I guess, was invited to be one of the first kids at that at the new high school. And I started hanging out, and I just didn't leave, so they let me teach. They asked me. I'd been, a musician for a while, and they let me teach music. And then I figured out that they figured out that I could do some administrative work, and that was one of my larger mistakes.
Are you still involved with the school?
I'm still on the board there. I have stepped away. I'm one of the primaries at FloydFest, and we're building out a new site up in Floyd. So that's been my main day-to-day focus for the last couple of years.
So How's it coming with the construction on the new site? Yeah.
Beautifully. I mean, we had weather for the first 14 weeks that anyone would be jealous of for building, and we're on slate to have a very beautiful venue to show everybody here in July.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah, it's
I can't wait.
Just seeing the looks of the people, you know, the other contractors and the guests and such that we've had there, everyone is, you know, I almost want to have one of those picture takers that they have on roller coasters to get the good scream. I would love to have that just to see people, you know, like, wow.
Maybe we can figure out something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, we're very excited.
Is GOAT playing at FloydFest this year as well?
Yeah, we've got a couple of sets, I think, and yeah, it's
How many stages are there going to be this year?
well, that's one of the bigger questions.
Okay.
Right now, I think we have 6 slated,
Wow.
which is down a few from years past.
It's a lot of building though.
Well, considering that at least this year, all of them or most of them are rental stages or you know,
Okay.
something we build for the festival and take away.
Sure.
And that's what we did for most of the stages at the old site as well. So eventually, on the new site, we'll have 3 permanent stages at least, and that'll happen in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. And I know last year moving to the new site caused a postponement. How did you keep your hopes up during all of that?
I won't say it wasn't a bit of a challenge, but
Sure.
basically, what happened was we kind of ran out of time with getting our permits together with Department of Environmental Quality. And basically, it's a give and take. You sit there, and I mean, we have a document that's probably 800 pages of calculations for stormwater remediation. And I'm not going to go into it, you know, but basically, whenever you change the topography of the land, you have to account for where the water's going to go, and you basically trying to keep it the exact same way that it was before you were over there. So you have to do all these calculations, and with 2.5 miles of road and the other ground disturbing things that we had to do, we have to have so many retention ponds and ways of making sure the water doesn't go into the streams, creeks, and everything improper. And so generally that takes about, for a project our size, they calculated that it generally takes about a year and a half, and we tried to do it in 3 months.
Wow.
And we got it done in 5 months, but unfortunately we had to get it done in 3 months to get the festival done, to get everything done in time
Tight
for
deadlines.
last year. So
Yeah.
we were very, I mean, I'll be quite honest, we were devastated
I'm sure
that we weren't able to do it. But
sure.
on
Like
this-
the old man in the sea, you went through all that work.
well, right. Well, I mean, you know, but in hindsight, it's looking like the site that we are going to present is going to be ready.
Yeah. Good.
And I'm not saying it wouldn't have been ready before, but if we had, you know, I mean, you know, everything wouldn't have been as well seated in and as well groomed and, you know, the whole thing. So,
Well, everyone I've talked to was really excited to have it back.
oh,
And,
it's yeah, it's everyone's homecoming.
absolutely.
You know.
And the lineup's looking stellar this year. Are you personally involved with booking the bands?
A little bit,
Uh-huh.
you know, Sam Calhoun, our chief operating officer, and Jessica Taylor, our CFO, and Lindsay Hines, and Gary Jackson, and a few others have been pretty instrumental in building the lineup. Like I say, I'll throw names in there, but my main focus has been just making sure we have a place,
Absolutely.
or a place that's ready.
Absolutely.
So that's
very cool.
yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you a little more about GOAT. I think you released some new songs recently. Are you all working on an album or just a new batch?
We're getting
of
ready
songs?
to. We have we've probably got Goodness, Foster is one of the more prolific guys I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we probably have, without jamming, 120 minutes worth of music
Wow.
between us. You know, I mean, I'm gonna say I've probably got 15, and Foster's probably got 25 or 30 that we could pull from. We actually have some time slated at the beginning of March to go into the studio to start tracking some stuff.
Really cool.
Um,
I'm excited.
it's one, GOTE is one of the more interesting bands. They started a year before I came into the band, and I think that was in 2014 or 2015. And I think I'm not overstating it, but I don't think we've had half a dozen rehearsals since I've been in the band, which is less than one a year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because, I mean, you know, basically we've always had a Thursday night or something
I was
like
going
that.
to say you've had a residency.
We've had a residency in play, you know, either at Billy's Barn, kind of, you know, a subtle one at Parkway, and definitely one at Martin's.
Sure.
So, you know, we definitely use those places to figure out some new stuff and to, you know, to talk behind the scenes more than we probably should have. But, yeah, us actually getting into the studio and actually talking about what we're going to do is really fun and exciting.
Absolutely. So Foster Burton's the other guitar player in the band and other songwriter. Will you tell us about Jay and Matt, the rhythm section?
Yeah. So yeah. Foster Burton is the other primary vocalist and guitarist, and I think, you know, he plays in what Mad Iguanas, Dead Reckoning, Mount Walrus.
Yeah, Isaac Haddon.
Isaac Haddon. Yeah. And probably half a dozen others that we don't even know about. Jay Gladden, who was one of the most amazing bass players that I've ever worked with, started off, the first place I knew of him was in a band called, I think it was Southbound.
Okay.
Which turned into Crowbar Cane.
Okay.
Crowbar Cane turned into Southbound. I can never remember. I think it was.
Remember Crowbar Cane.
Right. I think they turned into Crowbar Cane. So that's where I know him from, and he can play anything. I would say any rock and roll that was made from 1960 until now, and just as solid as they come. And I'm trying to think. He plays with War Child.
Yeah,
and they're just, yeah. And, you know, it's been fun. Since I started playing with GOTE, I've realized that I've just kind of been re-immersing into a younger generation of players. But all these guys have been playing together because the War Child people and Foster, those guys had a band back in the day called, I think it was Stadenko. And so, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just, you know, the music scene here is as good as I've ever seen it, as far as people playing with other people and it being a scene.
Awesome. Did Matt Leonard invite you into the band?
And then there's Matt, who I met doing snowboarding. He was a snowboarding instructor for my son up at Snowshoe years ago, and I got him into doing some production at FloydFest. And then we started, you know, we noodled around a little bit of music and stuff. And he was like, come play with this band I got. And so I showed up, and then I just kind of kept showing up. And then I was told I was in the band, so I just kept showing up. So, and Matt Leonard, I guess I should say, he plays for, obviously, Dead Reckoning. He sits in with everybody. And his chops and his.
And he must be a great snowboard instructor, because tell us about the what your son just did up at Snowshoe.
Oh, well, Matt is one of the most natural people. You know, you meet people that are really good at what they do, and you can just, you know, it's like things become natural extensions of themselves. Well, when I first met Matt, the way he could snowboard was like that. I mean, he could literally, I don't know if you don't know anything about snowboarding, but you strap both feet in and you go down a mountain at varying speeds. Well, he could put one foot in and not really be paying attention to it and do tricks.
Wow.
And go down the mountain and do all sorts of things. And and his way with, you know, it's like I said, I met him when he was teaching Ty, my oldest son, who's 22 now. I think he was 10 or 12 at that time. And he just, you know, had a very natural way about teaching. And was just, you know, so we started hanging out, and then we started doing production. Like I said,
Very cool.
yeah.
It's funny how it all
No,
works
yeah, no,
together
yeah.
sometimes.
And like I said, you know, I generally at the end of most gigs, I'll walk up to him and say thank you for inviting me back into this, because it's just, you know, I'm an old guy,
Yeah,
and getting to play music is about as good as it gets.
absolutely. I think you're gonna have special guests here at the Grandin show on February 22. You've got a horn section.
We got a horn section, which is going to be really cool. We've only had that one other time. We had some of these guys, I think 2 out of the 3 of these guys, sitting with us at Martin's one time.
Okay.
For I don't know if it was Mardi Gras or something like that. Our residency lined up with one. I think it was Fat Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
And they were, I think Justin and Brock were both part of the Chupacabras.
Sure.
And we had their horn section and their rhythm section sitting.
Oh, very.
And that was a lot. And especially having 9 people on Martin's stage is
That's a tight fit.
right, with 3 percussionists, a drummer, and you know, and everything else. But yeah, no, we're going to apply horns to a few of these tunes and see what happens. And
Absolutely.
it's going to be.
Ryan Ratliff will be there.
And
too.
Ryan is the only one that I haven't personally shaken his hand and met before, but I get to watch him because I think he plays with he's in Mountain Walrus.
He's in Mountain Walrus
and
and Appalachian Space Train.
Right. I don't think I've seen them since he came in, but no, everything that I've heard is just good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I know you were planning to play us a GOTE original. I'd love to turn it over to you to play us a song to take us out.
Well, the one I'm gonna play, I've played with several bands, but this is one we put on our first EP a bunch of years ago. But this is one that, you know, when you're really lucky and you're paying attention, songs fall out of you. And this one fell out of.
Very cool.
So and it's and every place I've taken it kind of works out. It's a song called Mountain Bluebird.
Mountain
So
Bluebird.
let's see if my hands will work.
Thanks, John.
They head up in the mountains high as the summer evenings grow. Sing this song as all year long, even in the wind and the snow. Sing this song so happily, he sends it straight from the heart. Glad they're back to sing us another winter time. So Mountain Bluebird, sing that song tonight. Mountain Bluebird sings the joy and strife. Mountain Bluebird sings that truth every day. Thank you for seeing me today. Really work all day just as hard to play through whatever life throws at them. Makes the best out of every breath and carries on through this. Thanks to good world for what it provides. Gonna send that song back to prayer to remind us all of what we have, especially what we share. Mountain Bluebird, sing that song tonight. Mountain Bluebird, sing the joy and strife. like to thank you for singing me today. Well, the time has come for us to run back to ourselves the way. Find the love that we lost somewhere, then share it every day. Simple smile can satisfy some of these longings in our heart. Yeah, the truth will guide you, and it's free to follow. And so now Bluebird, sing that song tonight. Now Bluebird sings it just right. Now Bluebird sings that truth every day. I'd like to thank you, yes, and thank you every day. Singing to me today.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.